Hey everyone, Beardo here, and you are watching the 50th episode of MINUTIA MINUTE, so that's kind of exciting. What better way to bring in the 50th episode than with the final countdown to The Dark Knight Rises video. Now, you've seen the entire Nightfall saga, from Nightfall to Night Quest to Night's End. We have an extra week here to use, so I thought, let's just show a few preludes, a few sort of lead-in books that sort of built up what would ultimately be the Nightfall saga. Now, there's going to be definitely some missing titles in here. This isn't in any way like a complete collection. It's just some books that I had that I was looking through, rereading. Thought it'd be kind of fun to show off for you guys. There is one glaring missing book in here that really should be, that's not. We'll get to that when we get to it. But first, let's kick it off with Legends of the Dark Knight number 16. This is the beginning of a 5-issue arc called Venom, written by Denny O'Neil, breakdowns by Trevor Von Eden, and finished art by Russell Braun. Now, the artwork in this book is actually very, very nice. I really enjoy the art in this. And this particular issue is the first appearance of Venom, which at the time was a pill. A pill called Venom that someone basically dupes Batman into taking. So, for those of you who think that Venom is unique to Bane, it actually was first used by the Caped Crusader himself. And so what basically happens in this storyline is Batman tries to save a little girl who's drowning, and she's blocked by all this debris, and he clears all the debris except for one giant boulder that weighs like 700 pounds, and he can't move it, and she drowns. And it's really a pretty brutal way to open this book. Not lighthearted, to say the least. And what ends up happening is Batman basically starts taking steroids, but in this case, it's Venom. And he goes a little bit batshit crazy, pardon the pun. And so basically, this particular issue, I think, opens with Batman basically not dressed as Batman, but just a man wearing a hood and a trench coat, and just beating the crap out of random people that he is assuming are criminals, which is pretty brutal. Meanwhile, Jim Gordon is very frustrated with Batman, because Batman isn't even around, because you just got this masked vigilante going around beating people up. And Alfred, of course, threatens to leave, and does leave, I believe, before finally being persuaded to come back by Bruce Wayne, who is truly broken by this Venom concoction that he's been taking. Now, the person who is giving him Venom basically is using it to keep the Batman down and use the Batman against himself. So he basically tries to get Batman to kill Commissioner Gordon, otherwise he'll stop giving him Venom. And there's a moment where you think he's maybe going to do it. Of course he doesn't, and he realizes he has to get off this drug immediately because he does truly go crazy. And then we get the shark fight in issue number 4. Now, this is Dark Knight number 19, part 4 of 5 of Venom. And basically, at the end of the last issue, Batman has holed himself up in the cave, and he tells Alfred, don't let me out for, I think it's 30 days. Just no matter how hard I scream, no matter what, don't let me out. And it gets to day 29, and Alfred's like trying to let him out because he feels like, something terrible could have happened to him. But Batman just keeps calling back, no, there's one more day. Finally, he comes out, and it's time to hunt down the criminals that have sort of put him in this situation. And that leads him to Santa Prisca. Now, Santa Prisca is a place that you saw in Night Quest, The Search. It's where Bruce Wayne ends up going to track down Chandra Kinsolving and Jack Drake. Santa Prisca first appeared in The Question. I don't remember which issue. It's basically a Denny O'Neil creation, and he tended to use it a lot in his storylines. So we get it again here. It shows up, I believe, in Vengeance of Bane as well, because that's where Bane comes from, if I remember correctly, Santa Prisca. And so along the road, he gets in a fight with a shark. He doesn't have Venom on his side this time, although it certainly looks like it from the cover. Kind of an entertaining moment. And then finally, he faces off with the villains, and of course, in the 5th part of the story, in issue 20, he has to sort of make the ultimate choice of, he's put in this situation in which Venom will make it a lot easier for him to escape, but, does he dare go down that path again? And we get a great sort of Batman MacGyver moment in which sort of Batman uses his surroundings to come up with a better solution that doesn't require the use of Venom to get out alive. And that basically is the first appearance of Venom. We don't see it again really until The Vengeance of Bane. Now, The Vengeance of Bane is the big missing link in my chain of Batman books. It's a book that I've always planned on buying, and it's one of those you always see it for like $5, $10, and you know, it's just one of those, you can just get it some other time, you know, and that's always been the way it is on my list. It's like, I'll buy it next time I'm in. Now that the movie's coming out, the book's gone from being $5 to $10 to $40 to $100. It's just absolutely absurd how much people are spending on this book, which is supposedly just a ridiculously low print run, which I'm sorry, it's not. I'm excited for like 2 or 3 months after the movie comes out because I'll be able to get my copy for $5 to $10 again. But in the meantime, all I have is this advertisement for you. I apologize. And of course, Vengeance of Bane is the first appearance of Bane. He started to drift over into Detective Comics shortly thereafter. He was just sort of in the background, sort of keeping an eye on Batman. And then he makes this sort of big Batman appearance. And when I say Batman, I mean the title Batman, in issue number 489. And in this issue, you know, he's already basically decided he's going to take down the Batman, and this is basically a Killer Croc story, and what basically happens is Bane finds out that Killer Croc had this plan to take down Batman, and almost succeeded. And so, basically, he decides, well, I'm going to assert myself by taking down the person who almost took down Batman to prove a point. And so you have Batman who faces off with Killer Croc first. And at this point, Batman is already really worn down for a lot of different reasons, part of which is actually the death of Superman and sort of reeling from that sort of emotional black hole that he's found himself in. But also just, you know, a lot of the typical, you know, Batman overextending himself, and so he's just exhausted, and so he faces off with Killer Croc, isn't particularly effective, and then Bane basically just pops in and just kicks the crap out of Killer Croc, which definitely leaves bad omens for Batman. At the end of the issue, you just sort of see Bruce Wayne sweating, asleep, having this nightmare of basically things to come. Now, 489 led right into another sort of quasi-Bane story in which Bane infects another Rogues Gallery member with Venom and gives Batman a run for his money. So we get partly a Venom story, partly a Bane story, but mostly a Riddler story, and this is the Riddler hopped up on Venom. I really enjoyed this cover. I like the idea of sort of, you know, the Riddler having his chance to be the big, bulky, badass bad guy. It's just kind of a fun issue. Of course, Batman does ultimately take him down, but not before he's a little bit humiliated by the Riddler himself, which is kind of fun. Anyway, and then by the time Bane has sort of tested Batman to his limits already, and sort of seen what Batman is capable enough by the end of 490, it's time for him to really cut loose and break out the master plan. And that is, of course, by breaking out all of the members of Arkham Asylum. And that basically plays out in issue 491. This is basically, you can consider this the prelude issue to Nightfall. Nightfall really picks up with everyone having escaped and Batman having to chase them down. So this is the big breakout. You have a great cover here by Kelly Jones. Kelly Jones is someone who I've really had mixed feelings about. His artwork later in the Batman run became really, really sort of cookie cuttery. It still had this kind of a crazy bat ears and just, you know, this style was still evident in it, but it was done with really, really solid lines and really, really sort of by-the-numbers inking, and I feel like it really killed his style. But early on in the Nightfall saga, these covers were just really, really cool, and I really like them. So anyway, that concludes our last countdown video. I hope you enjoyed the handful of books I had to show you, and I hope you're getting ready for The Dark Knight Rises. It is barely a week away. I'm so excited, as I said before. After The Dark Knight Rises comes out, you can expect to see sort of a countdown is over video in which I will review The Dark Knight Rises, which I'm very excited for. I am going to go see the 3-movie marathon, which basically starts with Batman Begins at 6 o'clock on the 19th, followed by The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises at midnight, so that I am really looking forward to, eagerly. And as soon as that video, or as soon as that movie's over, I am going to get back here, make a video for you guys, and let you know what I thought. After that, we'll have some sort of free time, because all I really have planned after that is our usual Wednesday videos. So what there is going to be next, we're going to continue with the Batman trend a little bit, because I am this close, and I've said this before, but I am this close to completing my Batman Modern Age collection. Now that is going to happen literally in a matter of a few weeks, so as soon as that is complete, I am going to do a complete Modern Age history of Batman, the main title, from basically issues 404 all the way through the conclusion of Tony Daniels' run on Batman, issue 713, I believe. So anyway, you can look forward to that. In the meantime, if you didn't check out my last Wednesday haul video, it was a small but mighty video, so go check that out. And I will see y'all at the movies. Talk to you later.